Hey everyone, this is Larry. Welcome back to Today I Feel Like. Today we're going to take a look at the 7 Artisans 50mm F1.05. That's right, 1.05. This lens is a bokeh beast. We're going to go ahead and unbox it, take a look at it, and see how it performs, and I'll tell you about what I like and don't like about it. So let's jump into it, and here we go. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick look around this box and then get them out and see what the lenses look like. And we can see here it says 7 Artisans, and then we can see here that it's going to be a 50mm 1.05, and it's going to be a full frame manual focus prime lens for both of them, and it's going to be a f1.05. Again, it has a 58mm filter diameter, 46 degree field of view, and a minimum focusing distance of 0.57 meters. So there you have that. If we can get a little bit of information, that's just all branding stuff there and contact information from them. So, all right, now I have this one here is for the R mount. This one is for E mount, or the Sony E mount. This one's for Canon RF. So let's take a look at both of them. We'll go ahead. We'll take the RF mount out first, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the Sony one. Both of these lenses look exactly the same, but we'll take a look anyways. We'll notice right away we're gonna get this nice leather pouch here that goes in, nice leather lens case. And then here is the lens. And this is one of the things I'm going to have a complaint about this lens already, is that, and I know this, is that the lens cap has a lot of trouble staying on there. It just falls right on off. So anyways, here is the lens, and the first thing that you're going to notice about this lens when you take it out of the box is that this thing is all metal, and it has a nice amount of weight to it. It feels really, really robust. This is a very, very nice looking and feeling lens. It does not feel cheap or inexpensive at all. So there is that. This thing is very, very nice, and it has a nice long throw. It feels good. So if you're doing some video work and you want to get that nice smooth rack focus, you're going to have a nice long throw on there. That's going to make it easy for you to get those nice rack focuses. So the filter, or excuse me, the aperture ring is clickless here. So as you start to move through your different apertures, it's clickless. So, all right, that's the lens. Let's just go ahead and take a look at this let me just show you here on the back too. If you didn't see, there are no connections at all. You just simply have the mount, but you have no connections at all for anything. No data, no autofocusing, nothing. So just be aware of that. If you're not comfortable with that, just know what you're getting. So, all right, let me go ahead. We can see here it's going to be pretty much the same thing. Take that off, throw that over there, set that off to the side. We're going to get the same nice looking leather pouch there. And let's go ahead and get this out. And we'll take that off and get this out of here. And again, the lens cap just falls right on off. So yeah, now you may notice that the back end of the Sony one looks a little bit smaller, and that's because, well, the mount is a little bit different, because Sony has a different mount that is a little bit smaller here. So yeah, but it looks very, very similar. And again, we have the same clickless aperture ring right there. We have the nice, we have that same nice long throw for the manual focus, so that you can get this, get some nice rack focuses if you're doing video. And yeah, this is it. All right. Let's talk about the good and the bad and see how this lens actually performs in the real world. All right, the first thing that I like about this lens is the fact that it is super sharp. Now, I've seen some other people talk about this lens where they were saying it's really not that sharp and it's difficult to shoot with. Well, it is difficult to shoot with, but this lens is very sharp, and when you nail focus, it looks beautiful. I mean, it is tack sharp when you really nail focus. It just looks wonderful. Now, on the other end, because of that 1.05 aperture and its manual focusing, it can be really easy to miss focus. And there's plenty of times that I've shot, thought that I had focus, turned out that I missed it altogether or was off slightly, and that can ruin your shots. So you have to be careful with this, because even though you can get some really tack sharp, great looking images, it's also really easy to miss focus and get some photos that are just worthless. Now, the next thing that I like about this lens is a reason that a lot of people are going to want to buy this lens, and that is because of the maximum aperture. That f1.05 really delivers on some real creamy, dreamy, buttery, bokeh-licious backgrounds. It is quite amazing. Now, if you're shooting photos, it's just gonna look really wonderful. You're gonna see the background just really smooth out. But if you're shooting video, you get that nice background too. And actually, let's go ahead and just take a look at some video and see what it looks like when you transition from all the way down from 1.05 all the way up to its maximum aperture, or its minimum aperture, excuse me, of f16. So we'll go from 1.05 all the way to its minimum aperture of f16. Let's take a look. Okay, so here we are, and I am recording right now at f1.05 here. So I'm gonna go ahead now and move it to f1.4, and we can see that's gonna be f1.4 right there. We're gonna go ahead and move it to f2. F2 is still going to give us really nice bokeh, really nice background blur, and then we'll move this here to 2.8, and that's 2.8. We can see that it's starting to come into focus a little bit more in the background, but still really nice background blur. This is going to be f4. We can see we're starting to get a lot more in the background there. As we move to f8, we can see things are more visible. And then last but not least, we have f16, where we can now see the doorknob and the blinds much more visible, but it still is a fair amount of bokeh in the background. And I'm going to move this all the way back down here, right back to f1.05, and we can see just how much background blur this lens really delivers. Now, the next thing that I like about this lens is the build quality. This lens feels fantastic. It's a bit heavy because there's nothing to it but glass and metal, and it feels really solid. Now, everything else about this lens feels really great too. I mean, that aperture ring, it's just buttery smooth. It's clickless, and it's just buttery smooth when you turn it. And the focus ring, same thing. That focus ring is just so smooth, and it has a nice long throw to it so that you can get those nice smooth rack focuses, and you don't have to worry about any jarring movements when you're focusing. It's just gonna be nice and smooth and consistent. So now on to the bad, and there are a couple of bad points that I wanted to touch on. None of them are deal breakers for me, but they might be for you. And the first one is that there are no electronic connections on the back of this lens. Now, I know this lens is a manual focus lens, which is not a problem, but I really wish there were some connections so that you can get things like focus assisting or your metadata pass through to your camera. In this lens, you can't do it. And because you can't get that focus assist, it's really easy to miss focus. In fact, there are plenty of times I was shooting with this lens, I thought I nailed focus, turns out I just simply didn't. All I could rely on was focus peaking inside of the camera, and that didn't always work out the best. And so what I ended up doing is coming back, looking at my images, thinking I nailed it, find out that I didn't nail it. Now, this next bad thing is something that I don't really expect a lens like this to have, but you should be aware of it anyways, and that is this lens does not have any image stabilization built into it. So if you are shooting video, just be aware that if you don't have image stabilization in your camera body, or even if you do, you're gonna need to make sure that you try and stabilize your camera the best that you can, because this lens is not gonna provide any sort of image stabilization assistance. And so when you're out shooting, fully expect that you're gonna have a little bit of shake in your footage while you're shooting video. Now, the last thing I want to mention on the bad side is the lens cap. It's a very minor thing, but it's an annoying thing, and that is this lens cap just will not stay on the lens. Now, this lens cap, it just keeps falling off in my camera bag. It falls off when I simply grab the lens and just barely touch it. It doesn't take much for this lens cap to fall off. I've had it fall off in my camera bag and then it clinks around and makes noise. It's just really, really annoying, and they need to come up with a better solution. So there you have it. That's it. That is a look at the 7 Artisans 50mm F1.05 lens, and I absolutely love this lens. I think it's great for all shooters. I have one for Sony and for Canon because I have both Sony and Canon cameras. I can tell you that it performs equally wonderfully with both cameras. It really, really is a fantastic lens, and you can get really tack sharp photos, and when you punch in on them, you will see that the photos are very sharp and beautiful, but you can also miss focus very, very easily. And I would love for them to come out with a new version of this lens that actually has some electronic connections on here, not necessarily for autofocus, but for passing through data and allowing the camera to better manage the manual focus of this lens so that you can be assured to actually get focus and nail focus all the time. So anyways, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna leave a link to this lens down below in the video description so that you can check it out for whatever mount camera you have. I'm also gonna leave links to my Amazon page, my social media contacts, so you can reach me elsewhere. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and please subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram. And I am Larry with Today I Feel Like. Thanks for coming back to see me. Come back and see me soon. And until next time, love, peace, and hair grease. Peace.